what happened, or what we've been waiting for the past 3.5 hours happened. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. And what's Paul E. going to do? And even the package, they did a nice package with the history. And I was thinking at the time I was watching the package, I think this is the only thing on this program so far that the fans 20 years ago watching probably wouldn't have shit on. This is star power with badasses and an intriguing story, kind of like they used to give them in the days of Austin and Rock and Taker and things like that. Of course, this match had controversy. Did you hear about the stipulation they announced and took back?
I heard a little bit about that. What happened?
Apparently on the pre-show, they announced that this match would be no disqualification. And then within 30 minutes, either at the end of the pre-show, before the thing even started, they said, no, both these guys really don't have any interest in the no DQ stipulation, so it's being dropped. Because they figured out, wait a minute, we're doing a screwy fucking finish that if it's a no DQ match like every other match we do, it really wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't get the desired result. So they announced the stipulation and took it back. But this was for another one of the world championships. But let's face it, actually the one that means something because Reigns is a credible champion and Brock is going for it. So this is the title that means something. And Heyman's involved. The entrances took over 10 minutes. And that's another reason why these shows are for. I remember in the pay-per-views that did huge business in the 90s and early thousands, such as when they grossed $50 million in one night in the Houston Astrodome on pay-per-view with Austin and Rock. Those shows had a 3-hour window, and we had to beat it by 5 to 7 minutes, so they had time to re-rack the replay. Now these things are 4 hours plus, and they're worse. Because now, in those days, Vince, if it was the Undertaker's entrance, you got time. If it was some bizarre entrance like Michael's repelling in Anaheim or whatever, you got some time. But everybody else was like, make your entrance, milk the people, and get in a fucking ring, get the match started. 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes should be fine. They've gone out of their minds with these entrances. That's why it's another reason these shows are 4 hours long. So they finally get in there. The introduction is taking place. The ring announcer introduced Roman Reigns standing in at a weight of, I swear to God, he said that. I played it back so I could, standing in at a weight of. But then they got started. And it was a smash mouth match, serious stuff, two big guys. Brock kept going for the Germans. Reigns is trying to avoid him like a fucking, sick man going for penicillin. He's going for those ropes to hold on so that Brock can't take him for the ride. And then he'd fight back, and Brock Lesnar sells just like he should. He staggers. He doesn't take big bumps. He staggers. He's got facials like that was surprising, or, oh, that stung, or that hurt. But he doesn't oversell because he's a beast. And Reigns finally, he fought back a little bit, and he bumped Brock to the floor, and Reigns hit a dive over the top that looked like one of those old Undertaker dives. This wasn't some 170-pound little white midget diving onto a bunch of catchers. This was a big grown man diving way over the top rope, and he wiped Brock Lesnar out. Made contact, and there was none of Brock like, oh, come to my waiting arms. He was waiting to get the impact, and fuck you, I'll take care of me, and you take care of you. And it looked like it hurt. And then Roman's hit a spear in the ring and got a 2 count, a big pop. They thought it might be over that quick. And then Reigns, there's 2 of the Superman punches and goes for his big spear, but Lesnar leapfrogged Reigns, and Reigns went into the fucking buckles. And now Brock is coming back. And did you notice Heyman at ringside? Normally, he does the facial reactions fantastic, even though he's not overly animated physically of his entire body because he's so morbidly obese now, he probably can't move around very well, but his face is amazing. But in this one, it was a stone face. He wasn't letting on to anybody whether he was happy or upset about whoever was in control. So he didn't stooge off, the question everybody wanted answered. And Brock gave Roman Reigns the German suplex over and over. And then he hit an F5. Boom, got a 2 count, which got a big pop. And then Brock goes for another F5, but Reigns catches him in a front face lock and tries to choke him out. Brock breaks it with a spine buster. Brock goes for the next F5, but they wiped out Little Nate, poor old Charles Robinson, the referee. And now Brock's got the cover, but there's no referee. So Brock goes over and this didn't make a lot of sense, but it was a cool visual. He picks Charles Robinson up by his belt like a suitcase. And then when he determines that the referee, who is the guy who can count the pin for him and allow him to win this thing, is not conscious, instead of trying to, hey, pal, bring him around a little bit, he just chucks him out of the ring. He's, fuck it. But it looked like something Brock would do. And then when he turns around, Reigns spears Brock from behind and everybody goes down. Now, here's a problem. The only problem I detected with this took too long. The referee's down. Both wrestlers are down. Everybody's down. The clock is ticking. But there's not a lot of move. And Paul comes up to ringside. I think this whole thing could have been tightened up a little bit. I'll explain how in a second. But he's got the title belt in his hands. And he throws the belt in between both Brock and Reigns and says, you know what to do with it. And they each look over and start reaching for it. And then they have the tug of war. And Brock snatches it away, but as soon as he turns around, the Usos are there for a double super kick. Boom, and Reigns has got the belt. And he nails Lesnar a big shot and throws the belt out and covers Lesnar. And immediately, second referee's in the ring. What immaculate timing. How did it happen that way by sheer happenstance? 1, 2, 3. It was a good finish. It was a wrestling finish. I can see Pat Patterson sitting down and laying this out. Problem is, Pat Patterson would have laid it out right and closed up the loophole I'm about to tell you. It's just bullshit when the exact moment that the heel does the damage the heel is going to do, the second referee comes out instantly, 1, 2, 3, like that. Boom, as soon as Paul threw the belt in, as soon as they saw it and they both had a tug of war for it, boom, when Lesnar ripped it away, and also they shouldn't have laid there that long. They should have kept it moving. But when Lesnar ripped it away, right then the Usos could have been there for that double super kick. Boom. And then let a second referee come down as they've jumped out of the ring. Let the second referee come down and be getting them away from ringside. So the referee is kicking the Usos out. And that's when Reigns uses the belt, boom, and smacks Lesnar and chucks the belt out of the ring. And when the second referee turns around, he's already down there. That's when he can see the cover and go back in, boom. It struck me wrong that just the instant slide in. I don't know, you know what I'm saying, Brian?
I do.
It's so convenient.
They were just all of a sudden there.
Yeah. Why wasn't he there for the previous minute and 45 seconds? When your first referee goes down, as I've said before, the clock is ticking. Somebody within 30 seconds in the back, some referee watching or some official, would have the power to send that person down to replace the injured referee. So everything within that first 30 seconds has to go on that a referee shouldn't really see. And then if you're going to do a run-in like with the Usos, do it at that point, then let the second referee come out and not see them doing damage, but see them there to be distracted by, to get them out while something else goes on in the ring. The whole thing takes 40 seconds fucking tops, and you can get by with it. Because you've left Robinson laying out there for 5 minutes. And it's just, I can't imagine. I've never had to do a spot like that because I was in the wrestling business, not the sports entertainment business. I can't imagine what it would be like to have to lay unconscious, allegedly, in front of the fans at ringside for 4 or 5 minutes from taking a kick to the head or a stray shoulder tackle or whatever, and you've got to pretend like you're. And I've heard the people screaming, "Get up, you son of a bitch! You know you're okay." So when you leave loopholes open like that for the people to turn to each other and go, "Well, look, that's bullshit. He's been down there forever. What, is he dead?" Then they're not paying close attention to what's going on in the rest of the finish. And you leave people the opportunity to run their mouths about it. Anyway. But otherwise than that, I don't know if it was worth going through 4 hours of the cock to see this match, but this was a good quality world championship match. What'd you think?
I thought it was good up until the finish, although I like the Heyman thing of, go for it, do what you got to do. Whatever, I forget exactly what he said. You know what to do. You
know what to do with it. It was a play on the Dynamic Dudes and the Midnight Express. When Shane got the fucking chain and away from Bobby, and then I grabbed it and threw it out. Said, now everything's fair again, and then boom. It's a kind of a play on that.
But the same way I don't like the Young Bucks or anyone interfering in the Omega matches, that even if it's a match I like, it immediately takes it down. It's the same thing with Roman Reigns. I mean, I get the Usos are his guys, but at this point, every match, why aren't you looking for the back, waiting for them to run in?
That spot wasn't really necessary. They could have done the tug of war with the title belt, and Brock could have jerked it away. And then they could have done something with Brock looking at Heyman like, "What the fuck are you trying to pull here?" and let Reigns nut shot him from behind and grab the belt and do the same thing. I don't know. But the Usos it was more like we got to figure out a place to put the Usos in rather than we really need the Usos. Anyway, that was the crown jewel. My, what a sparkling, polished diamond it was.
Oh, I thought you were going to say what a wonderful propaganda campaign it was.